with us, everybody. This is at least my first time doing a Zoom interactive live. Thank you for joining us today on Why Live. So the purpose here is that we really believe that within each one of us is a deep why and a purpose that really drives us forward. And to have clarity on that why really changes the game of life and business. So we're here to talk about the importance of why and sharing our why, and to uncover different ways of leveraging and growing from our why. And our guest today is Chris Swartz from First Choice Mortgage. He was on The Proof not too long ago. I'm your host today, Dan Lievens, founder of The Proof. And we're just going to have a nice conversation around the importance of our why and what kind of role that plays in our business. So, Chris, welcome to our first Why Live ever.
Wow! All right, thanks, Dan. Good thing is, I guess I don't have big shoes to fill. Right? They're only mine.
That's right. That's right. So first of all, if anybody's tuning in, Chris was on our stage, on a Proof stage not too long ago, went through the whole why discovery process, and, got on our stage and kind of poured his heart out about what really makes him tick. So Chris, maybe you can share with us a little bit about, your experience and how does the why really affect what you do, and how do you embrace that?
Sure. I mean, one of the things, is, as far as the Proof experience and what I shared on the stage was just a lot of the things that have happened throughout my life. And if I won't get into all of that, obviously you have that on the Proof site, right, Dan? So if you wanted to kind of see a little bit more and dig into that, it's there. But I really kind of went deep with my life, what I won't get into those experiences meant, and how they kind of set the foundation for the decisions that I make today, and what drives me. And but I really kind of went deep with getting a little echo, Dan. I don't know what you got. Dan.
Yep.
All right. So I was getting an echo on my end.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, so kind of using those experiences to guide me, and to really make sure that the decisions that I make today are in line with who I am as a person, as a father, husband, an entrepreneur, and just making sure that the decisions I make are in line with who I am.
So you're obviously in the mortgage industry right now. Can you talk to me a little bit about your passion for real estate and how that all began?
Sure. I started out in the industry, originally on the real estate side, buying and selling real estate, fixing up homes, and to use the common term, flipping houses. That's what we did. I had a couple of buddies. We bought and sold a few houses in early 2000s, and through that process, we had people that were doing the loans. One of which said, "Hey, you should check out the mortgage business. I think you'd be great at it." And became a silent partner in that business. And I'm a hands-on guy, so very shortly thereafter, I left my full-time job and went all in the mortgage business in about I guess it was 2005-ish, right around there, and worked for a few companies, both on the banking side, broker side, and then ultimately ended up founding the company that I'm with now with two partners in December of last year.
So talk to us a little bit about what drives you on a day-to-day basis. Like when you get up in the morning, do you feel excited? What's the first thing that kind of comes to mind?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Every day, especially in, being an entrepreneur, every day is different, and it's an opportunity to create, as opposed to just going through the motions. So it's very exciting, most days, so, and, it really, what I try to do is to just set out to, achieve the things that in my business, personal and, relationship, that I need to do to keep that alignment there with my why. And, okay, I'm up, time to start the day. What do I want for my body, for my physical self? What do I need to stay in line with the why of, kind of, being there for my family, making sure that I take care of my body, myself, and then, rolling that into the family. What do I need to do to, be the father and the husband that I set out to be? What actions do I need to take today to keep in line? And integrity is a big part of that as well, making sure that I'm being honest with myself and the people that I've made agreements with. So I try to start the day and just look at it, from that perspective as to what I need to do to keep everything in alignment with the agreements and, kind of promises that I've made to myself and others.
So the mortgage industry is very transactional, right? I mean, it's in most people's eyes, it's, hey, what kind of interest rate am I going to get? So what makes you different?
Well, yeah, it's very transactional. It's all about numbers, and and there's not at least on the residential side, especially there's for me there's a huge emotional component that does tie into what I do. When somebody is moving into a new home with their family, or making an investment that is going to take care of, their family. There are a lot of numbers that go into that, and you can just crunch numbers and look at spreadsheets and give people data, or you can do that, which is really critical, right? You need to look at those things, and that is important. But there's a huge component of just connecting with people and understanding the why. To tie it into this is, why are they buying this house? What does it mean to them? And actually caring about that, I think has absolutely set me apart. I get, very invested in wanting to make sure that I understand my clients' needs, the why behind it is, what it is that they're doing. And I really do, get involved more on a personal level and connect with my clients and stay in touch. I always tell people, hey, after we close on this home, you're part of my mortgage family. And, what we do as a family is, try to do things similar to what you would do with your family. You keep in touch, you have events, we get together throughout the year. We have client events and parties and such. And I try to just really create that bond outside of the analytical piece of just crunching numbers. And I'm certain that that's what sets me apart.
Mm. So let's switch gears real quick and maybe talk a little bit about your childhood and what got you to where you are today. There's one question that I asked you a while ago, and the way you answered it, I think was absolutely beautiful. And that was, if you could fix one thing in the world, like what would it be? Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember the question. And, I'd have to rack my brain on what exactly my answer was there. When we did the proof session, but,
I think,
that was, if you want to give me a little, memory jogger here, I'm sure it'll come to light.
I think we're talking about strategy and how, like, do people have to come from a bad place? Do they have to have lost a limb to be able to be somebody? And
Yeah, sure.
just along that vein.
Yeah. So, I mean, kind of tying it back to, a lot of the, as an entrepreneur, I think as many of us do, you try to, read books, consume, social media, listen to books, audio, whatever it is. And I've found that, a lot of those, books and things that we're drawn to, that where you see the guy that, or the girl that was, broke, living out of their car, and then, founded, the next, Amazon, right? And there's
The rags
so many
to riches.
Yeah, it's so cliche, right? The rags to riches story, but it's a great story, and it's been repurposed over and over, and you change out the characters in the business or the experience, and it just for me, I was kind of looking at that and saying, well, I definitely, as I've shared on the proof, I've got plenty of tragic, if you want to, call it that. I'll would probably, not say that, because if I didn't have those experiences, I wouldn't be where I am today. So they're just lessons in life. I wouldn't label them tragic, but maybe some people would. But do you have to have that to be successful? Do you have to go from rags to riches? And it just seemed like, so many of these extremes. And what was kind of an aha moment for me was, we all have experiences in our lives that we can draw from, and they may be positive experiences. Maybe you grew up, very, well-to-do, and you had lots of opportunities, and you still opened a very successful business, or, you're successful now. And it doesn't mean that story is not important because you didn't, go from rags to riches. So for me, just kind of tapping into people's experiences, as to what their foundation in life is, and being able to use that as fuel to, propel you to where you are and where you want to be. That was, kind of one of the main focuses on our talk when we did the proof, was just to tap into, those experiences in your life, whether they were tragic, whether they were amazing experiences. How can you use them, and how do you use them on a daily basis to get where you want to be?
So you touched on the foundation and the fuel, and I know that's something that you've started working on yourself as, aligned with your purpose. Can you share with us a little bit about what's going on there and what the mission is?
Sure. So after my experience on the proof, I was inspired to go out and do a little bit something different outside of my normal, I guess, comfort zone, and started a podcast, which is, we've got a few episodes down, and it's on iTunes, and just kind of getting started. But the proof was really my inspiration to go out and do that. And what I really wanted to do was to connect with people and see, what it is that drives them. And it ties into whether you want to call it your why, your purpose, whatever label you want to put on it, but to really, meet people and to have them share the experiences and those, things that they draw on, which I call the podcast Fuel, which is an acronym for Foundations Under Extraordinary Lives. And, we all have this foundation that our lives are built on. And I thought it would be a really cool concept, after being on the proof and seeing how very successful entrepreneurs opened up on the stage and painted this, beautiful picture of everything that they were doing, and the why behind it, and the foundation, and then they shared, the business. We have a marketing business, or, whatever it is. And it was like, wow, to put the business aside for a minute and really get to the core of who that person was. It was amazing. And we all meet, successful people, whether, it's in any aspect of our life, business, physical, at the gym, or, somebody that you aspire to be. And if they're at a top level, everybody knows that, hey, Chris is the, whatever, mortgage guru. Dan is the entrepreneurial guru. They associate you with whatever it is that you do when you reach a certain level, and you kind of get stripped of, all the good stuff, like who you are and what makes you who you are. So Fuel is a podcast to put aside maybe the super successful side of you and everybody knowing that you're the number one, fill in the blank, whatever it is in your industry, and just saying, all right, well, we all know that, but how did you get there? What experience have you had in your life that allowed you to get there? And that's what Fuel does. And, we're going to be looking for guests, to come on our podcast and to share the experiences and, kind of challenge them not to necessarily talk about their business or what they do, to borrow from the proof. I think you have a saying that says, we don't care what you do, it's, why you do it. Right. So it's, kind of that same concept. And,
so what's your fuel?
My fuel is, the foundation of my life is, those experiences that I shared on stage as a child, and coming, from, a tough background, and seeing, people around me struggle, seeing, being raised by a single mother, and just wanting to, provide a better life for myself, for my family, and, really kind of break the cycle of a lot of things that had happened in my life and, within generations of my family. And that really drives me every day to be able to, create a different life and experience for my family.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to throw you a little curveball here.
Oh boy.
If life was a job that we get to apply for, what do you think the job description would say for your life?
That is a curveball. The job description. Yeah, I guess, being a people person, and really, like I said, the mortgages being a transactional piece is more the vehicle that I use to connect with people. So the real job that I would apply for is, kind of like a mentor and I don't want to call it a coach, but, some sort of position around there to be able to work with people, to allow them to tap into the greatness that they have and to see the true potential that they have. So, it would be something along the lines of, this wouldn't be a new created job that I'd be applying for, as far as, to relate it to things that exist now, in that like coaching and mentorship, role.
But that's beautiful. I mean, a inspirational leader, right? And then, just for those that haven't seen his talk, is, Chris, ever since he was 10 years old, like he just knew the answer, like he knew how to make the right decision. You were no stranger in a principal's office, but that changed, right?
It did, yeah.
And maybe, well, tell us what really changed then, like.
Yeah, what changed? I just have been blessed with the ability to, just make decisions that, are I just kind of have like this, I think we all have this inner voice that guide us. And I guess I've just been, wise enough to listen to it at the times where I need it to, and, kind of flick it off my shoulder when I thought, you know what, good idea, but I'm going to go out on my own and do it this way. And, that, maybe walked the line a few times, got me in a little trouble, but I never, for major decisions in my life, I always listened and, kind of made sure that I was following that inner voice that, kept me on, going down the right path. And, as a young kid, as I talked about in my proof talk, I mean, I was a punk ass kid, I was in trouble. I was in the principal's office. I was, everything, because, I was just at a point in my life where I don't want to use too colorful language on here, but I just didn't care. Let me put it that way. And as I got older, and I went into high school, and coming from, being, in the principal's office and just been all these things. And I think a lot of the teachers that were in contact with the middle school teachers said, yeah, he's coming. He's going to be in your class, so watch out. And then I got there and never once, sent to the principal's office, none of that stuff. It just stopped because I had this voice. It's okay. It's time to, it's the big leagues. It's, this is going to be your future here. You want to play around, which I did. I, definitely was no angel at that point in my life, but I always, just made decisions to keep me on the right track. And, I had that ability to know when to turn it on and off. And it's kept me going today,
So fast forward, I don't know, 30, 40 years, imagine you're sitting on your front porch on your rocking chair, grandkids running around, and describe to me what you see or what you feel then when you look in the rear view mirror.
Well, I mean, that's an interesting question. I mean, when I look at the rear view mirror, I would see, a lot of, busyness and chaos and everything that kind of got me to sitting on the porch in the rocking chair. But then as we get closer, as the objects in the mirror get closer, right, it would start to kind of settle down, and there would be calm and, just kind of clarity. And, I think it would be just peace in that moment. Cause I think I've gotten to a point where, if I were to look in the rearview mirror, depending on how far back I could see, I might just see just complete, explosions. And then, as I drive further away, I might start to see, just some little accidents. And, and I think as you get further down the road, I might just be cruising down, PCH, looking over at the ocean, like, okay, so it's, starting to settle down, starting to, feel like, I'm making, decisions that are guided by, I've had a lot of training and coaching and mentors and friends such as yourself and others that have, helped me just start to make sense and get clarity, be in control of my life and living with purpose. So it's, it'd be really, if I were at that point in the rocking chair 30 years from now, I think I'd just see the beach in the background.
So Chris, let's wrap up a little bit. I just want to, maybe you can share a little bit where people can find you. I think this fuel thing is very much in line with what our mission is in terms of finding purpose and what really fuels us, right? So what's the name of the podcast again?
It's Fuel with Chris Swartz, and
Okay.
It's you can find it on iTunes, Stitcher, any of the platforms that are up right now. So you can tune into it, and if you'd like to be a guest, if you feel like you have a story that you'd like to share about how you are driven in life, what got you to where you are, that's interesting that people would want to, hear about, you can reach out to me, and Dan, I'll give you some links that we can post maybe to this, and I can jump on there, shoot me an email, whatever, however you want to connect, and we can get you on the show.
Awesome. So we'll post the links below after the live, and feel free to reach out to Chris. And everybody, thank you for tuning in. And Chris will make this available to you as well via download.
Cool.
And yeah, if anybody wants to join this conversation, check us out at whywarriornation.com, which leads us to this Facebook group, the Why Warriors. And Chris, thank you so much for your time. And for those who have not seen his proof talk, go check it out at witnesstheproof.com. And again, thank you for tuning in, Chris. Great to see you again.
Thanks for having me, Dan.
Yeah, absolutely. Take care.
All right. Take it easy, Dan.